A very common question I get amongst mobile users is which is more secure, the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store? Now, before I answer this question, I wanted to share with you a few interesting statistics about these two app stores. In terms of revenue, it turns out that the Apple App Store has actually made more money than the Google Play Store. As of 2018, the Apple App Store had generated about $22.6 billion in comparison to the Google Play Store that's generated about $11.8 billion. However, it should be noted that unlike the Apple App Store that's available in China, the Google Play Store is not yet available in this country, and we all know China is a huge market with over 1 billion people. Now, in terms of growth, it turns out that the Google Play Store actually outgrew the Apple App Store in 2018. The Google Play Store grew by 29.7% against the 26.8% of the Apple Store. Also, when it comes to the number of apps available, as of December 2018, there are about 2.6 million apps available in the Google Play Store compared to the 2.1 available in the Apple App Store. And one more very interesting statistics is the fact that games are actually the most downloaded app. In fact, of all the revenue generated through the sales of apps, games account for a whopping 78% of all the sales, which is just insane. So if you're thinking about making money through apps, you might want to invest in making a game or two. So now to the most important question. Which is more secure between the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store? Well, in terms of security, there's really no comparison. The Apple App Store is far more secure. But why? Why is it that the Apple App Store is more secure than the Google Play Store? Well, there are 4 major reasons for this. And the very first reason is the fact that Apple have a very strict policy when it comes to publishing applications on their platform. Before an app can be published on the platform, it has to go through a very rigorous vetting process. Now, even though Google do try to vet the bad apps from the good apps on their store, the rules and requirements needed to be satisfied before an app can be published on Google Play Store is not as rigorous as that of the Apple App Store. The second reason has to do with security updates. You see, Apple always make it mandatory for the users to download and install updates whenever they're available, but Google, on the other hand, always give the users the option of either choosing to download and install the updates whenever they're available or choosing to do so at a later time. So in reality, while Android users have more flexibility, they tend to be less secure than their counterparts who use the iOS devices. Now, the third reason has to do with hardware. You see, unlike Apple that have full control over the kinds of hardware that they manufacture, Android, on the other hand, have different kinds of manufacturers. And unfortunately, many manufacturers of Android devices do not take security into account whenever they manufacture these devices. Rather than placing security as a top priority, they would rather focus more on things like the design or the customer experience. The fourth and final reason has to do with something known as device fragmentation. You see, before you as a user can use a mobile device, 2 things have to be present. One would be the hardware, which would be your phone. Second would be the software, which would be the operating system. Now, the more versions that exist between the hardware and software, the greater the fragmentation, and the greater the fragmentation, the more vulnerable you become to security loopholes. Now, Apple have the advantage of having very limited versions of their operating system and also very limited versions of their hardware. Android, on the other hand, have so many variants of its operating system, and of course, so many different manufacturers manufacturing different kinds of Android devices. So as a result, the fragmentation that exists on Android is far greater, and because of this, Android tends to be far less secure than the Apple App Store. So there you have it, the major comparisons between the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.